Welcome into this edition of the NFL Daily Mailbag. I am Will Scott answering questions from our loyal subscribers here. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the show. We begin with the Super Chatter, the Past Master saying, "Yo, just checking in, Chat Sports. I'm back. We appreciate you, Past Master. Minnesota has to start Cine or Andrew Booth Jr., right? They honestly couldn't be thinking Bynum or Dantzler Sr." Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Cine and Booth Jr., definitely the future. They're first and second round picks this past year. So, yeah, I would say eventually they'll start. I don't know week one, but they're probably a better option than Bynum and Dantzler Sr., but certainly an interesting situation to monitor over there in Minnesota. I think the Vikings are going to be pretty good this year, by the way. The NFL Kid, the Panthers play the Browns next week. I need a full breakdown on what will happen and end it with a game prediction, please. I like this question, NFL Kid. Baker revenge game. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's very good. I just don't. Last year in Miami, he was mediocre. He's a decent backup, but can he start and play at a high level starting? I don't know. But Baker Mayfield, man, I'm surprised he's talking as much as he is. He's given the Browns a lot of bulletin board material. But I still think that the Panthers are going to win. In fact, I think that it's going to be a close game until the very end. I think it'll be like a 3-point Panther lead going into the fourth quarter. Panthers win by 10. I'm going to say 27-17. Panthers win. Baker Mayfield throws 2 touchdown passes, and he's going to be doing a lot of celebrating. That game means a lot to Baker Mayfield. Smiley Dave saying, who is a notable name who could get traded before the season starts? Definitely some notable names in trade rumors right now, including Denzel Mims. He requested a trade. But I think Mike Gesicki is someone who might get traded before the start of the season, the Dolphins tight end. We heard his name in trade rumors about 2 weeks ago. The head coach, Mike McDaniel, and the general manager, Chris Greer, came out and said, well, we didn't make any calls. Teams were calling us, but we weren't really interested in trading him. But I found it very interesting that the Dolphins carried 5 tight ends on their initial 53-man. And I understand that, some teams do that, but I still found it interesting that they carry 5 wide receivers and 5 tight ends. It's almost like they carried the rookie tight end Tanner Connor because they're expecting to maybe trade Mike Gesicki. But in the preseason, Gesicki did not look impressive. The fit in Mike McDaniel's offense is a concern in Miami. A lot of teams would be interested in this guy. He's going to be a free agent next year unless he's tagged again, which is an extremely rare thing to be tagged a second straight year. So Gesicki could very easily be traded here soon. I don't know about before the start of the season, but he could. Now, will Mike Gesicki get traded? Type Y for yes or type N for no down in the comment section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when ad break comes, go down, chime in. Will Mike Gesicki be traded before the start of the season or at any point during the season? Type Y or type N. The Elite saying, I think if TJ Watt has a season like last season, he will break the bank. New contract, 10 years, $750 million, $658 million guaranteed. Man, TJ Watt didn't sign, he signed an extension, somewhat recently, so I don't know when he's going to get a new one. But 10 years, that'd be the biggest contract ever. That's more than Mahomes got, a lot more than Mahomes got. So we'll see. I'm a big TJ Watt fan, but that's a lot of money. Mr. Sports, do you ever see the NFL changing their overtime rules to have a winner than having a tie? I appreciate that question, Mr. Sports, because I actually have a great idea. I think producer Jeremy Chugg's going to like this idea. So I understand the whole player safety thing, why they don't want to play a second overtime. But here's what you do. Here's my idea. If overtime ends in a tie, you know how like soccer has PKs and hockey has shootouts. You have a kickoff between the two kickers. They start at the 10-yard line. Both kickers make that kick. They move to the 20. Both kickers make that kick. They move to the 30. Then move to the 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, so on. And then whoever misses, loses. I love it. It's a great idea. And then kickers are going to be very valuable in those type of situations. So the overtime rule should be changed. In American sports in the year 2022, there should be no ties. That should be illegal. They should change the rule. I think that'd be a lot of fun. A little kickoff, I don't know what they'd call it, kick, shootout, I don't know, but it should happen. Taco Frog 88, we appreciate the question. Do you think the Texans can surprise some people and win more than the number of games predicted? I do. I think the Texans are going to be pretty good this year. Well, I say that. Better than last year. I think this is going to be a respectable football team. I could see this team winning anywhere from 5 to 7 games, but Davis Mills is legit in my opinion. Damian Pierce, their new running back, is really solid as well. They just signed O.J. Howard. Their defense, definitely has some question marks, but some talent. I really like what Nick Caserio is doing in Houston. They're going to be better than people expect. Maybe the win total won't show that. Like, it might be a 5-win team, but they're going to put up some fights this year against some talented teams. I would bet on that. And you can bet on BetUS if you use promo code NFL Daily for a 125% deposit bonus. That's the link right there, chatsports.com/bet. So if you put $100 in, you can get $125 in free cash to bet with. That's a great deal. Go and take advantage. A lot of great games to bet on this weekend over there. Chatsports.com/bet. They got college football, NFL, prop bets, everything you need to bet on. They got it. Chatsports.com/bet. Toxic Redneck 44 says, Texans taking Will Anderson. Thoughts? Okay, here's what's going to happen. When you look at the draft order, here's the only way Will Anderson's a Houston Texan. If the Seahawks and the Falcons have the first 2 picks, they'll take Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud in no particular order. Jaguars have the 4th pick, and they're going to be sticking with Trevor Lawrence. The Texans would have to have the 3rd pick because Will Anderson's going to be the first non-quarterback off the board. So they'd have to find some way to be in a position where the teams in front of them are taking quarterbacks. Because I don't think the Texans are going to have the worst record in the league. Now, if they do have the worst record in the league and have the number 1 overall pick, and they feel like Davis Mills is the guy, then yeah, Will Anderson is the easy selection there. But if Davis Mills isn't the guy and they go 2-15 or whatever and have the number 1 overall pick, they'll take Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or another quarterback. So the way that the Texans are going to get Anderson is if Davis Mills performs at a high level, the teams in front of them are taking QBs, then Will Anderson lands with the Texans. I think it's very, very possible, but if the Texans win more games than people think they are, which I think they might, then Will Anderson is going to be off the board, unless they trade up. They have a lot of future picks. Lion Fighters X, appreciate you, man. Your personal opinion on Jalen Hurts and his season ahead. Admittedly, I was not high on Hurts when he first came into the league. I wasn't that high on him last year. But, man, with the weapons they've given him, you trade for A.J. Brown, it's going to be a good offense. I think Hurts might be the guy in Philadelphia. I really do. And I think the Eagles are going to win the East over the Dallas Cowboys this year. I just think they're the better football team overall. Their defense is really solid. Hurts finally has a couple weapons. I think this is a pretty good football team. I think Hurts is going to be pretty good this year. I'm not going to say he's going to be elite. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback, but a top 15 quarterback? Yeah, I think he is. Ellis Tinsley. Fantasy football sleeper. I'm happy you asked that question because I just brought up the Houston Texans. Damian Pierce is absolutely a fantasy football sleeper. He is going to be RB1 in Houston. They felt so good about him in the preseason that they released Marlon Mack, who they've recently added to the practice squad, but still, that's how good they felt about Pierce. This is what he did in the preseason. Didn't get a whole lot of carries because he is going to be the starting running back in Houston, but 11 carries, 86 yards, 7.8 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. He is a big-time sleeper, especially when you look at maybe an RB2 slot. He would be one of the best RB2s in terms of who you draft. Who do you think is a fantasy football sleeper? Go down in the comments section. I'm trying to get in a fantasy league. I haven't joined a league yet. I want to join a league by the end of this week. But go down in the comments section. Who do you think is a fantasy football sleeper? Batman saying, Pat showing up early to accidentally record Miami sidelines. So if y'all haven't seen this, this is pretty unprecedented. But New England is flying into Miami tomorrow in order to adjust to the weather because the heat and humidity is obviously a lot different in Miami than it is, in New England. They're not used to the heat and humidity. So they're getting there early. They have practices set up at all these undisclosed locations in Miami. So maybe high school fields, I don't know. But they're trying to get used to the heat. But Batman is saying, no, That's not it at all. That's a cover-up. They're showing up early to record Miami sidelines. We'll look out for that, Batman. We appreciate you watching out for the fence. Nick Fury, 55. Appreciate the question. Should Seattle tank this year or not? We have a shot at Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud if we tank, but it may not happen. Yeah, I think they're tanking already, Nick. I really do. I mean, how else do you explain that they didn't go out and draft a quarterback or sign a quarterback? They had this QB competition going on between Drew Lock and Geno Smith. The reason that they're doing that is because they want to tank, and they want Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. They know Drew Lock or Geno is not going to be the guy going forward. I'm higher on Drew Lock than most people are. I'm a little bit disappointed he lost that job, and I mean, let's be honest, he kind of gave the job away to Geno in the end with how poorly he played in the preseason finale in Dallas. But yeah, they're absolutely going to tank, and they probably should at this point. It's not going to be a good year for your Seahawks. I'm sorry, Nick. Lance DeArthur saying, could the Saints sign Eric Fisher? Yes, it's a possibility. Now, we did hear earlier today some positive news on Penning, that Trevor Penning, their first-round pick, is going to be back probably by the end of the regular season. But Eric Fisher makes some sense. I think if James Hurst goes into that first game in Atlanta, doesn't play well, then maybe you get a guy like Fisher or Bobby Massey on the phone. But it's certainly a possibility the Saints signing an offensive lineman with Trevor Penning on injured reserve. Sal Volcano saying, when will Kenny Pickett take over in Pittsburgh? Soon. So earlier today, the Steelers confirmed that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the starter. Not a surprise. That's always been the plan. But with how well Pickett played in the preseason, you have to ask the question, Sal, that you're asking. When is he going to take over? Because I think a lot of people were thinking at first that, man, Trubisky's going to start this entire season, and then Pickett will take over next season, similar to what Trey Lance is dealing with right now, finally taking over as a starting quarterback in year 2. But I think by week 6, Pickett will be the starter because I just don't think Mitchell Trubisky is going to get it done. The Elite. I think Lamar is going to leave Baltimore and go to Miami and get a 7-year, $330 million contract, $269 million guaranteed. I'm going to do some quick. I'm not very good at math. I'm pulling up my calculator to see how much money per year that is. That's $47 million per year. Yeah, I think that's possible because when you look at Lamar's current situation, he's from South Florida. So, like, if he leaves Baltimore, where could he go? Miami, absolutely. And I think that Tua is the guy there. I think Tua's going to have a good season. You finally give him some weapons. But it's very possible Lamar to Miami if Tua does not work out. Now, unfortunately for the Dolphins, they lost draft capital because they tampered with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. So they do not have their own first-round pick next year. However, they have the 49ers first-round pick, so still some draft capital. So, look, the Ravens are not going to lose Lamar in free agency. They would tag Lamar and then trade Lamar to Miami. Certainly a possibility, but the numbers that the Elite put together right there add up, $47 million per year on a 7-year deal. Now, will the Ravens extend Jackson before the season? Type E for extend or type W for won't down in the comment section because we heard from Josina Anderson recently that he has given the Ravens a deadline, a self-imposed deadline, and there is an improved offer out on the table. But is that offer enough? We'll have to wait and see. Type E for extend or type W for won't. Easy Breeze 905, appreciate the question. After extending Russ, who could the Broncos extend next? I'd say Bradley Chubb. I think Bradley Chubb is the guy that they might try to lock up next. He's obviously been solid, some injury issues with him, but Chubb has so much upside. I'm a big fan of Bradley Chubb, and in terms of who they could extend next, look to lock him up. I think Bradley Chubb is going to be the next guy because he's such a big part of the Broncos' defensive identity. He's a big part of the future. They do not want to let that guy get away. I would absolutely lock Bradley Chubb up. Look for him to be the next guy that gets extended over there in Denver. Be sure to like this video, by the way. If you love the NFL, trying to get more likes on our videos, hit that thumbs up icon. The Elite saying, any update on the Ravens mascot? So pray for Poe the Raven. Pray for Poe the Raven. He's out for the year. Adam Schefter reported that Poe the Raven is out for the year with I believe it was a left leg injury that he suffered in a mascot game against a Pee Wee football team. And then John Harbaugh confirmed the news in a press conference last week that Poe the Raven is out for the year. So prayers up for Poe the Raven. They're trying to find a replacement, and I'm told that producer Jeremy Chuggs is flying to Baltimore for a tryout later this week. We're confirming that here at Chat Sports. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we got all these live shows throughout the season, news and rumors videos every single day. Be sure to subscribe to Chat Sports if you're a big NFL fan.